So welcome. This is the Film Inquiry Roundtable number 8. My name is Kristy Strouse. I'm editor-in-chief, and today we are talking about our favorite movies from the year we were born. So you all get to know how old we are. So before we get into that and have fun trivia, unless Jake decides to just say screw it, let's just say hello, quick introductions and whatnot. Jake, go ahead.
Hey, yes, that is me. I am Jake Tropila, writer, editor at Film Inquiry, also the trivia master. And we will be having trivia tonight. Nothing will stop me. The trivia train has no brakes. But yeah, I'm excited to be here and talk to another round of people. Throw it over to Bailey.
Hello, I'm Bailey Joe, and I'm also writer and new editor, Film Inquiry. This is my second roundtable. Hopefully I do better on the trivia, but who knows? Apparently there are a lot of movies I've just never seen. And but really glad to see y'all and to talk to y'all.
I'm Josie Nussman, writer with Film Inquiry. This is the second one of these I've been able to do. So really excited to be back and hopefully redeeming myself from some bad history or bad trivia stuff the last time. Although I think I got one question right. I remember getting one question right last time we did trivia, but
Nobody remembers the bad times.
yeah, it's
Exactly.
yeah, we do not speak about it.
Yeah. We all have them, I assure you. Alexander.
Oh, hi. I'm Alex Miller. I've been writing with Film Increase for a while, since I think 2014. And yeah, definitely it's great to be back. I think this is my third round at the round table there. Double down on the round. And looking forward to talking about some movies that were made on the years we were born. It's another wonderful addition to the world of movies in the world.
Yes, indeed. And thank you all for coming back. This is always so much fun. It's a nice little escape.
Yeah.
And it's always nice to see you guys, even if it's on Zoom.
Definitely.
All right, so I'll start. So yeah, I was born in 1987, and I'm gonna just kind of throw out a bunch of titles, and rather than, because I don't have one single favorite. So we've got Evil Dead 2. Yes,
Movie.
and a lot of ones that are real sentimental too, like The Lost Boys, Princess Bride, Harry and the Hendersons. Even Spaceballs is nostalgic to me. And then there's Predator, Moonstruck, which I love Moonstruck. Random Nicolas Cage romance. Raising Arizona, another Cage.
Classic.
Yes. And
Good year for him.
right, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yes.
That's
Boom,
awesome.
right? And also, The Living Daylights, which is one of, gotta point that out. It's actually a James Bond film, one of my favorites, and that's also nostalgic to me too. So we watched it a lot.
Criminally underrated too. Criminally underrated.
Very,
It's
Dalton
one
was
of my
doing what
favorites.
Daniel Craig would do now, and people didn't give him the credit back then for it.
Exactly right. I've been saying it all these years.
Damn right.
Yeah.
since '87.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I want to touch on what's weird is Harry and the Hendersons. If you asked me before today, I would have been convinced that was like a 1993 movie. Just something about it just seems 90s to me. I was surprised it came out much earlier than that. But
Late '80s feels like early '90s though.
It was ahead of
we're
its
on
time.
we're at the turn of the decade there, and so a lot of different trends are coming through. But yeah, Evil Dead 2 is fantastic. Predator is amazing. Raising Arizona, Living Daylights. A lot of good choices there.
I say Untouchables because that too.
Another good choice. Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
funny you
cool.
mention Untouchables and Harry and the Hendersons, because the first thing that popped in my head was this clip from, I don't know how many of you guys have seen the De Palma documentary on Netflix that came out a few years ago. It's basically just a bunch of interviews with him talking about all the movies he did. And there's a bit when he's talking about the Untouchables, and he basically talks about how like everyone was so confident and nervous that Harry and the Hendersons was just gonna blow them out of the water, and like they were just gonna like flop hard, and this like weird Bigfoot movie was gonna. That's just the first thing that popped in my head. I do have to say, I have to stand up since you mentioned '87 for one of my like 3 or 4 favorite movies of the '80s that's from this year that you did not mention, which is Broadcast News.
Oh yeah,
That's just in my opinion, like kind of perfect movie, like a just sort of like very earnestly sentimental, but still like really funny and really sharp adult comedy that like no one would go near with like a 10-foot pole anymore. Like that movie's like a Netflix series by now, but as someone who like works a lot in like news departments and stuff, that's just like a really personal one for me, because just like all those characters in that movie are just like people I've worked with throughout the years. So I just had to give a little shout out to that one, because
I'm glad you did. That's awesome. And
yeah.
Sure, we're gonna end this, and I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, this and this and this and this. Like even right now, it's like, oh yeah, Lethal Weapon, which would be
Oh geez.
to say I'm getting
that on VHS.
Yeah. Well, I will. I'll jump in here. I'll throw out some of mine. So, Kristy had Raising Arizona. I have another Coen Brothers film. I was born in 1990, by the way. But Miller's Crossing is one of mine. I'm also a big fan from that year. I mean, Goodfellas. Come on.
Oh yeah.
But also in the similar genre vein of Goodfellas is Abel Ferrara's King of New York, which I would probably say is his best film. Is fantastic. Total Recall, maybe my favorite Arnold movie. I love that movie dearly.
Yeah. So good.
It's fantastic. Paul Verhoeven's the man.
It might be one of his best too.
Last week or last time.
Yeah.
Paul,
it's not Verhoeven, it's Verhoeven, according to our Manon, our CEO.
I asked her.
Yeah. But yeah, other films include Miami Blues. I love Tremors, Edward Scissorhands, Maniac Cop 2, Wild at Heart, Hardware, Trust.
Richard Stanley. Nice.
Yeah, Richard Stanley. Trust by Hal Hartley and Dick Tracy, La Femme Nikita, and Gremlins 2, The New Batch.
Ooh, that's a hot list.
Yeah.
that is a list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
I just rewatched La Femme Nikita the other day. I got the Blu-ray. I found it like used for $6. I'm like, who would let this go for $6?
It's a great movie.
It looks so great, and the action scenes are phenomenal, and it feels so light years ahead of its time. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm really glad you mentioned Dick Tracy too, which like I've been doing this like podcast series with a friend about like kind of overlooked movies throughout history, and that's one that we did an episode of like I don't know that I consider that like a great movie, but it's so stylistically out there and so like it's such a like unique kind of high camp take on like a comic book movie that like again, like going back to something that like people just seem to have like an allergic reaction to, is like the idea of like leaning into the campiness of like a movie like that. I find really, really interesting, and just the fact that it's Warren Beatty of all people making it is just like the like chef's kiss emoji of it.
And he's a terrific director. I feel like he doesn't get the credit he deserves as a director. I mean, like Reds, Heaven Can't Wait, and of course Dick Tracy. And Dick Tracy knows exactly what it wants to be, and it does it just like perfectly. It's so much fun, and everyone's so over the top, like Al Pacino especially. Yeah,
it's what I want in a comic film. Just the bright primary colors, the matte paintings, the music is fantastic. The grotesque character makeup that matches their names, like and their physical ailments. It's just a lot of fun. And not totally weightless too. Like there's actual heart to the story as well. So yeah.
And Madonna, because when Madonna wants to be good, she's great.
Yeah. The best Madonna performance too. It's got a lot of great things.
Dangerous Game and Desperately Seeking Susan are like the three like pretty solid Madonna
I
performances.
still need to see a Dangerous Game. That's on my list of Ferraras to see.
It's not an easy watch, but for Abel Ferrara, that's kind of like any of his movies, really. But it's again ahead of its time and rewarding in a very uncomfortable way.
Yeah. Well, let's see, Bailey Joe, what do you got?
So I'm a year younger than you, so I'm 91. My ultimate movie from that year is What About Bob, with Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss. That was like a huge like DVD we had growing up, and like when we transitioned away from VHS, and it's so irreverent and so funny, and I am constantly like in my just regular day like quoting it and thinking about it, like trying to remember the Tourette syndrome scene of like, I need to remember this insult to tell my brother next time I'm on the phone with him, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a great little like Frank Oz movie. It's been a few years since I've seen it, so I don't know how it holds up. Like
It holds up.
It holds up.
I mean, like with
Yeah.
like ableist stuff. But it's also like it's of its time. So I mean, yeah, so good. And the don't hassle me, I'm local bit. I don't know why it's so funny to me. Just like, yeah, man, I'm on a vacation with you, and you're my therapist, and this is crossing so many lines, but it's okay because I'm fun, Bill Murray, and that's kind of how he lives his life, right?
Right.
It was like pre-deadpan Bill Murray too. Like I feel like he's still a little more animated back then. You know, he's just like kind of, it was like Toshiro Mifune before his deadpan phase, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
And then The People Under the Stairs is like huge. I love that movie. Like I'm not like I like Wes Craven enough, but like that movie really stands out for me for like one of his good ones. Yeah, I love that the character his name is Fool, and he's like the little protagonist, and it reminds me of like the Fool card in like tarot. You know, the Fool card, everyone thinks it's like you don't want to be that, but like the Fool is the protagonist. They're the one on the journey, and I just love that little actor. I don't remember his name, but I'm not sure if he went on to do too much after that.
I don't think so. I do love the pair from the Twin Peaks playing the husband and wife who might be siblings.
Big Ed and Nadine.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I got it for a birthday present, and it was one of those movies where it didn't just like meet the expectations I had when I was a kid. It actually like surpassed them. I was like, this is like better than I remember. It was so much fun. The Shout Factory Blu-ray is like essential.
And then Silence of the Lambs, you know, is that 91?
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah,
it's your
Okay,
best
yeah.
picture winner for that year.
and it's a perfect movie. So just throwing
It is.
that out.
Yeah, it's just kind of like it's a given.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's one of the horror movies that like my family will all watch because it's kind of a stealth horror in a way, and it's interesting like Ed Gein's legacy throughout horror movies and how blatant it is in that. Yeah, and then you know just everything about it is great. And then the biggest 91 movie, one of the biggest movies of all time, T2. Kind of have to mention that. Like, it's a lot, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's great how it's cool how like kind of special effects from that time still hold up like super well.
Yeah, they look just as great as they ever have, and they don't really date. And I think it's the combination of physical effects and computer generated. They look phenomenal, and it was funny because growing up, like anything that had Arnie in it was okay, even if it was like a hard R, like Commando or something, just because like he was in Kindergarten Cop, so that's all right. So like watching like Terminator and Terminator 2 when you're like 5, you know what I mean? You're seeing like, you know, people getting punched through with a, you know, shot to shit. So it was kind of funny that was on the table.
I don't want to jump ahead yet, but it's interesting how three of us have picked a film that has Arnie in it, and maybe he's like the central thread that connects our childhoods.
Right.
I had another
We're
one
all of that age.
from '87 with him too, Running Man.
Yeah.
That's awesome one too. And Yaphet Kotto was in that too, right? I want to say.
It's been a while since I know Jesse Ventura is in it. But
Yeah.
I got Letterboxd open here. I'm gonna check it out.
Cool.
I did forget
Yeah.
this Monster Squad, by the way, real quick before I forgot. I don't think I said that.
Monster Squad.
Oh,
Yeah, Yaphet
And
Kotto.
then,
yeah.
trying to think. Oh, so this is a movie I just watched recently that I'm really like. I wish I grew up. There's so many movies I wish I grew up watching. But My Own Private Idaho. It's so good.
Yeah.
And I'd never really heard of it before ever. And it popped up on my Netflix, and it's like River Phoenix and Keanu.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
And it's
Yeah,
Shakespeare too. And it's Shakespeare.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I went in completely cold. I didn't know anything about it, and I was like, why are they quoting Bill? What is this? And I had, IMDb up, and it was like, oh, okay, makes sense. But yeah, it's so good, and I was super annoyed at first with the direction, but as it went on, it got a lot better.
It works a
yeah,
spell
and
on
then,
you. It does work a spell on you, because it feels like Orson Welles made Chimes of Midnight, which is this like piecemeal Shakespeare film, and I think Gus Van Sant kind of did a similar thing. A lot of the same themes of Falstaff and stuff are in there, so really cool stuff. Not to cut you off. But.
Yeah, no, it's fine. But I I'm team Keanu all the way, but I don't think he's necessarily a great actor. But I was really surprised by how good he was in this. Like, I think it's, at least from what I've seen, I was like, oh, he actually can act. Whoa.
Yeah, he's got good range, and he's a great screen presence. I think it's one of those things where, acting, whatever, but he's when he's on screen, you pay attention to him because he's just got that.
This is also like a great double bill year for him because he's in My Own Private Idaho, which is like, this like great indie work from the 1990s, but then he's also in Point Break the same year with Patrick Swayze, which I can't exactly say he's good in that movie, but it's a kind of like really fun bad performance, and just like that movie, I'm a huge Catherine Bigelow fan, and I think that movie goes up there with T2 that you mentioned earlier as just like one of the great 90s action movies, and just how visceral and jaw-dropping some of those sequences are, and just the lengths she's willing to go to kind of like give you that adrenaline rush.
He was in another movie that year too.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's on fire.
Which,
are we ready for them to face the music?
We'll see. Personally, I like Bogus Journey more than Excellent Adventure, if only for the Seventh Seal references.
Exactly.
Great.
Maybe for the still image for this video, we should just have a picture of Keanu Reeves.
Just Keanu, or Keanu and Schwarzenegger.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man. Ever an action movie needed to happen, I think we just wrote a script, you guys.
I know, right?
Yeah, for 91, there are a lot of like good movies that I like, but I wouldn't necessarily say like they're my favorite. Like Hook was big. Mostly it was a year of movies I watched in a classroom, like when they brought in the TV, like Hook, Rockadoodle.
91?
Yeah, later when I was older, we would watch a lot of these movies in classroom. Like Rover Dangerfield, that was a big one I watched as a kid in a classroom.
Which one?
Which is so funny. It's a movie where Rodney Dangerfield basically plays himself as a dog, and his owner is a showgirl in Vegas, and her shady boyfriend hates him and throws him down he gets thrown in a river, and he winds up on this farm where he has to become a real dog, and he falls in love with this girl dog. And it's super funny because it's Rodney Dangerfield, but like written for kids, and he learns how to be a real tough dog, and it's cute.
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Even
Collar,
the
yeah. All right. It's coming back to me now. Thank you.
Gotta be calling the.
I was imagining like a Homeward Bound situation where it was just a dog, but like Rodney Dangerfield's voice. But then you showed that cartoon image, and I
Yeah.
lost it. It's too
this guy's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like my dad loved Rodney Dangerfield, so that was something him and I could watch together, along with like Caddyshack. And then another big one was American Tail 5 Goes West.
Nice.
That was like a big VHS in my house because it's cowboys, you know, grew up cowboy family. Yeah, like it's interesting. For me, it's a very like juvenile year of movies because it's so many movies I watched exclusively as a kid. Like most of these movies I've seen now are like, like My Own Private Idaho, and then recently like People Under the Stairs. So I feel like it's a interesting year for film.
Good variety.
In relation to me.
But I love Hook, by the way. I don't know if we talked about that on the Does It Live Up episode when we revisited.
There's definitely been a lot of interesting crossover with films that came out in the year we're born, and hidden gems or Does It Hold Up movies. So
or even remakes, because like a bunch of them I've seen, like the originals came out in years that we were born, and we talked about how the remakes were horrible. But Hook was something I watched a lot as a kid, and I still have fun with it. There's, it's not the same degree as when I was a kid, but.
I think that's for 91. Like there's a ton more movies that like, like Thelma and Louise and City Slickers, Robin Hood, but it's like they're not necessarily like my favorites. They're worth mentioning though, I guess.
Silence of the Lambs is really all you need, though. You could have just, mic dropped.
Yeah. I needed to say, what about Bob, though? What about Bob is king?
No, what about Bob? Yes. Baby steps.
Yeah, I would love to rewatch it and kind of look at it and see if it's like how ableist it is, because it's so hard for movies to really get illnesses correctly. Like watching My Own Private Idaho, I was like, I'm pretty sure this isn't how narcolepsy works exactly. But
they give you the definition of it literally, so that helps.
Yeah.
From a dictionary.
I know. From a 90s dictionary.
But man, we really lost something when we lost River Phoenix.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, he was special. And that could have been like, like this great acting dynasty too, or not dynasty, but twosome with Rivers and Joaquin there. Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll go next by saying I was born in 1994. And yeah, it seems like I'm the baby of the group. So I've been making these like long ranked lists of every movie that's came out since each year since I was born. So I got my 94 one pulled up. I'll do some crossover with some people we've been talking about. Speed's pretty near the top if we're talking about Keanu Reeves. I mean, another like one of the like great 90s action movies that I remember seeing as a teenager, and like on paper sounds really stupid.
Oh yeah.
Like, this bomb on a bus, and the bus goes like under 60 miles an hour, the bus will blow up, but is actually like a super entertaining, just like well-crafted, efficient action movie.
Speed kicks ass, yeah. And you get a great unhinged Dennis Hopper performance. From when he got sober too. Yeah.
Very true. I mean, you got Crooklyn, I think one of the great Spike Lee movies. Ed Wood, which I'm not a big Tim Burton person, but that is kind of one of like 3 or 4 Tim Burton movies I do really like.
That's my favorite of his,
Yeah, definitely. Easily. And then, I mean, you got what I think is like the best documentary of the 90s, which is Hoop Dreams. Just like an absolute like knockout emotional documentary about 2 teenage boys playing basketball in inner city Chicago and kind of needing to use basketball as a way to kind of like get out of their poor neighborhoods, and it just sort of follows them over the course of, I think it's like a year. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I believe it follows them over the course of a year, and
it's like the whole school year.
Yeah, and just the kind of random things that life can throw your way, and it doesn't quite end in the way you'd sort of be expecting. But I think it's a great movie of like using cinema as a way to sort of experience life through someone else's shoes. Chungking Express. I love myself some Wong Kar-wai. This is kind of like the Wong Kar-wai movie that kind of like brings him to international audiences. And I've been going back and watching a bunch of his movies lately.
And you know, the story around that is that he was editing Ashes of Time.
Oh, okay.
He was lost in it. Like he went and filmed this like massive like wuxia epic with you know, Tony Long and Bridget Lin, and it's out in the desert, and he's cutting this like massive, because you know how he works, he just shoots like an endless amount of footage. He's like Malik, and he was just so frustrated with it. So he's like, you know what, I need to make this like quick riff of like a romantic comedy film, and that little riff of a movie was Chungking Express, and that became the international success. And Ashes of Time went to the wayside, but I love Ashes of Time anyway. But.
Yeah. I think there's just something about, like, similar to Malik, something about Wong Kar-wai's movies that, like, I can't really describe them to people, but you just sort of, like, get lost in, and even, like, I can kind of, like, either fully pay attention to it or, like, half pay attention to it and just sort of have it on in the background, and it just sort of, like, changes the chemistry of the room. And
it works both ways. Yeah, like I can like do chores to Chungking Express, or like you know, song to song or something like that, or feel like, you know.
And I mean, you know, if you're going down to some even like smaller, lesser known stuff, I don't know how many people have seen Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, which is like a great early Ang Lee movie. Heavenly Creatures, which, if you didn't know, that Peter Jackson made a really weird, kind of darkly funny movie about homicidal girls in Australia. Not Australia, New Zealand. Gosh, it's late.
I had on VH.
That's a great movie. And you know, there's this like little movie that comes out this year by this some guy named Quentin Tarantino. It's called Pulp Fiction, and I mean, it's
what?
It's
never heard.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
And Shawshank.
Oh, gee, yeah.
And The Professional, Leon.
And The Professional.
Yeah.
That was one of the first movies I remember making me cry when they kill Leon. Spoilers, by the way, at the end. Yeah.
Speaking of 94, like, how do we all feel about Forrest Gump? I can kind of like my take I've formed of it, like, loved it as a kid, and then like I think I'm at now where sort of like I get why people hate it, I get why people love it. I think if you don't have Tom Hanks in that movie, it's the most like insufferable movie that's ever been made.
Yeah. That's one movie where we watched it over and over again every day one summer, because it was like, I don't even know why. I think my brother just wanted to watch it. And I think if you don't think too much about anything outside of it, it's super enjoyable. But right. I mean,
well, like the not thinking part, like when I saw it, I think I was, 8, and then, or what year is it, 97 or 94? And then, like, nothing about it, but I was 8, so like, what was everyone else's excuse? Rewatching it as an adult, though, it's just like kind of buying it that this one dude, like, affected every pop cultural reference throughout the years is kind of like, okay. And then I
read the book sequel in middle school, and it's so bad, and it made me be like, I'm so glad there wasn't a sequel. No, he in it, he invents new Coke.
Oh.
And it's because he's like selling inside, he's selling something door to door. Someone is like, it's like the Coke CEO is like experimenting. He tries it and he's like, oh, this is terrible. And he like adds all this stuff from this person's kitchen, and they try it and they're like, this is amazing. Will be new Coke. And but he can't replicate it.
I think
my goodness.
There's I don't know if it's in the book, but there is a bit that they apparently wrote a script for the sequel, and the script was tossed after 9/11 happened. And the reason, if you go back, I'll just say there's a plot point involving the Oklahoma City bombing that might be, if that had been gone into a movie, might be the most appalling thing that has ever been in a movie. I'll just leave it there to like go find it. But
okay, so I'm sorry, can I just go on like one little sidebar? I would joke around about having this like fan script about called like the Dark Gump, where like instead of contributing to all these like pop culture references, he's actually like an agent in all these horrible things that happened. Like he was a security guard at like Olympic Village during like 1973 at the Munich Olympics. Like they just wanted to meet them nice wrestlers, so I let them in, and just to kind of like shove the Forrest Gump thing back up its face. And then when I heard the Oklahoma City thing and the after 9/11 thing, I was like, oh my God, like my horrible joke came true. That's what happened. Like,
yeah, I don't know if it's like that scenario, but if you've
Right.
ever seen, I think that there's that one movie, the title is now escaping me, so maybe this bit's gonna fail, where like the last shot is like it's Robert Pattinson looking out a window and then it like backs
remember
up
that.
and it's the world. It's that kind of moment. But yeah, I mean, I kind of have a basic pick of like Pulp Fiction's probably my favorite movie of that year, but another just kind of like weird one that, and then I'll pass the ball. Like, I have complicated feelings about Natural Born Killers, but like what a weird stylistic experience of just like, even kind of going back to, you know, talking about 91, like one of the, I think my favorite movies from that year that like I saw a lot of as a kid because it was just on TV was JFK.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Which is just like kind of absurd, like gobbledygook Oliver Stone, but at its like best, and it's like, you know, it's bad for you, but it's just like it's like junk food. It's just so great. And I don't think that Natural Born Killers quite, I think it's kind of eye rolling as like a work of commentary on the media, but I think as a like stylistic experiment with him just at kind of like the peak of his powers, just being like, I'm going to like really push the bar stylistically and kind of like constantly change film stocks and like do some stuff in animation and some stuff on like a digital handheld camera and use like fisheye lenses, and it just creates this like weird kaleidoscopic sensory experience that I think that movie's really groundbreaking stylistically, even if I like kind of roll my eyes at it the entire
yeah,
time.
no, I definitely know what you mean. And it's like he's gobbling up everything that was going on in the 90s, whether it was like short attention span culture, MTV music video culture, just true crime, you know, glorification stuff. And like I think he started out with a really good idea, and I think he just kind of got lost with it, and just it just kind of turned into a beautiful mess in a way.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good describe it. Beautiful mess, actually.
Yeah.
Interview with a Vampire is another one that I love.
Oh,
Yes, so good.
And I feel like
it's
we
the
have
fastest 2.5 hours ever. Like it goes by so quickly.
Yes. Yeah. I have to acknowledge there's an Arnie for your year too with True Lies.
I had that written out.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
I guess I always pass over that one because it's always, I think, just sort of gets dwarfed by like the other Cameron movies that I just.
It's like that in the abyss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't mention a 94 Arnie movie without talking about Junior.
What is that?
Or we can. Just like keep going.
Yeah.
I can feel it kicking.
Is
I
that the one where he gets pregnant?
yeah.
Yes.
I watched that, and I literally had to like look away every time it showed his pregnant tummy. So gross. We should talk about movies that make us sick, like on another time. That's like up there for me. But yeah. Interview with the Vampire is great. Really, really, really great movie from '94. I think is Clerks. Clerks was like huge for me.
Oh, that was huge. Yeah, that was a big deal movie.
That was 94. Yes.
And a lot of people like to shit on Kevin Smith, but I really like, I love just I just love him. And Clerks is like, man, I just love that movie. And it makes me sad when people like really talk bad about Kevin Smith. Like, I didn't like Tusk at all. Tusk, again, made me sick.
Tusk was
like,
insane.
It's so
like-
awesomely insane.
What?
I just said I will always defend Tusk. It's just so like crazy. Michael Parks is so good.
Michael Parks, yeah, he is like the pulse of that film. It's so gonzo.
You defend yoga hosers?
No.
No.
I defend his ability to make a movie that literally like trolls his audience. Like I think he's literally just like forcing his fans to watch a bad movie to like just make it happen, I guess. I don't know.
I could definitely watch the Colleens forever though. Like I really
They're
enjoy
cool.
the Colleens. But Yoga Hosers, no thanks.
I like Stargate too, even though that wasn't very.
Ooh.
That was a movie I
I
liked.
like Stargate. Stargate's cool. It's got a good
Yeah.
Kurt Russell and James.
The only
Spader.
other Jay Davison movie we got. Yeah.
True to that.
Alexander, did you want to kick off your year?
Oh yeah, that whole thing. All right, so I'll start off with Michael Mann's Manhunter from 1986. It's the first appearance of Hannibal Lecter, and it's kind of single-handedly kicked off the profiler genre. I mean, I don't think we'd have like shows like Mindhunter and CSI had Manhunter not graced our screens. And what I love about Michael Mann is that he has this ability to, he can make like a blockbuster kind of like style film, but also have these art house sensibilities. So he's like stylistic and procedural and very cinematic all at the same time. And you just get a crackling performance from Tom Noonan as the Tooth Fairy and Will Peterson. I'm waiting for like a director to like rejuvenate his career. Like I'm waiting for Quentin Tarantino to write a script for Will Peterson to like have his big late era comeback. And also it's got the best use of Inagata-Devita, I think, of all time.
Yeah, that final shootout is spectacular.
Oh, it's terrific. Yeah.
I think Peterson's more than probably content to live off of his CSI residuals.
Probably, yeah. And he sure can, because that show generates a lot of money. Next up after that, I would go with Choi Hark's Peking Opera Blues. One of my, I guess, deep cuts. It's just this wild, crazy time. I would like to have a visual aid, but I'm waiting for my Blu-ray from Hong Kong Rescue. Like if you took your highlight reel from like Indiana Jones and put it all together, it would just be like that, cranked up to 15. And it's just like a historical narrative adventure film, action adventure. And then you have like, some gender bending casting with Bridget Lin in the true spirit of Peking Opera. And also you have Peking Opera. You have like flying colors and, streamers and dancing and acrobatics. It's like, it's an explosion in like a 96-minute runtime. It's like the funnest movie ever made.
And Sui Hark made that movie. Wow. I've never heard of it.
He's the bee's knees. Yeah, that's his Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's like his kick-ass.
Sold.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's close to being a perfect movie as can be. Yeah.
Excellent.
Definitely. Let's see what's next up here. I would go with One Way Train to Downerville with Sid and Nancy. Always a punk rock fan, and so like when I was younger, seeing a screen treatment of Sid and Nancy, it was kind of cool. And I also felt like this guy likes the Sex Pistols, and I also feel like this guy likes the Sex Pistols, and he likes punk rock without being like a dopey nowhere guy. Like you can see in Repo Man, he embraces the culture and also kind of critiques it as well. And I think that's one of the best parts of Sid and Nancy. So you get this fatalistic romance, and you also have these like artistic flourishes, but it also doesn't really glorify the actions of its characters. And it's got a very sobering ending, and yeah, it holds up quite well. Even though some of the recreated music of the Sex Pistols sounds kind of goofy. And if you're like a hardcore Sex Pistols fan, you'll kind of hate how Johnny Rotten's portrayed, but that's a terrific flick. And if one more, if I may.
Of course.
Yeah, I'll do
1,000. So
okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I would go with John Woo's A Better Tomorrow.
Ooh.
I got that in Chinatown, like 2000, whatever. And it was like the first of his bullet ballet movies, and you can see he's evoking Jean-Pierre Melville. He's got the Chow Yun-Fat being like so laconic and cool with like the matchstick in his mouth and the .45 caliber, and it's not as cranked up as like The Killer or Hard Boiled, but you have that like kinetic energy coming out for the first time. and John Woo directs it with this like Peck and Paw-esque opera, opera system. It's so loud and violent and beautiful, and I think it really kicked off the Hong Kong kung fu flicks. It's a minor marvel, and then it kicked off 2 other sequels. The third of which was directed by Choi Hark, who did Peking Opera Blues. So there's that.
We got to ask, do you have a raw deal to complete our Arnold Schwarzenegger circuit?
So I'm embarrassed to admit I haven't seen Raw Deal since like I was a pup. I remember Arnie blowing people away and dumping that like bowl of pills out.
I've never seen it, to be honest.
Yeah, no. So I wish I could speak more on it.
I want to more finally remembered ones.
Yeah, and since I have the mic, I'll do a shout out to Miyazaki's Castle in the Sky.
Yes.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful film, and it's got all the things, like it's got flying machines and wondrous, fantastical images and these beautiful scenarios. It's so much fun.
Gotta give it to Stand By Me too with River Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
Bringing it back.
If we want to also add Keanu, River's Edge is good, and I don't want to step on Kristy's choice there because Blue Velvet is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I love Lynch, and
very scary movie, like probably like the scariest, most like trauma. Like I love David Lynch, but that's like a very like signature. Like I remember seeing that as a teenager, and of just like keeping me up at night. Of like found Dennis Hopper just so scary and upsetting.
Oh, it's
Blue Velvet is so good. That's one of my like I'm having a sick day movie. I love that movie.
I'm almost like afraid to show it to people. Like if someone hasn't heard of David Lynch, like I almost don't want to show it to them because it's almost like too good. I feel like everything else you're gonna watch after that won't like exceed, won't meet expectations. Maybe Mulholland Drive, but yeah.
The first time I saw it was I did a watch party and I told everyone like, hey, I've heard this is very can be very traumatizing. Don't come if you're not able to handle it. I don't know what's gonna happen, but and then my 2 coworkers came and they were married and they got in a huge fight over it. Like it was it's not for everyone, definitely.
There's some hard stuff to see in that film, but it's so good. It's just
it is disturbing, but it's good. Did you say Aliens too? Because I feel like that's
I mean, I almost assumed there would be another 86er, and I was like, I'll just go for the more deep cuts, But I was like, someone will bring up Aliens at some point. So, but Aliens is amazing, and I like what I see.
It's funny because I actually have Predator and Aliens behind me, and it wasn't even on purpose.
It was funny too because like there's these like those movies are like sci-fi action horror. Like we had nice.
This has nothing to do with anything. I just got it.
It's still awesome.
Hawaii.
Yeah, it's like we have these like like jacked up like military movies, and yet they're still like hard sci-fi, and yet they're still like kind of freaky too. And Aliens is like so cool because like at that age we were like into like G.I. Joe and like commandos and junk, and then seeing that with like xenomorphs and drone guns and junk, and rest in peace Bill Paxton with Game Over. He was like the best part of that movie.
Actually, I just realized I also have Ludo. That's weird. Labyrinth was also.
Oh yeah.
Labyrinth was like monumental to me as a kid. I loved anything like Henson and like Muppets, and and David Bowie. You can't go wrong with those pants.
And that was Jennifer Connelly, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was like her first movie.
Yeah, it was Once Upon a Time in America, and then Labyrinth. Yeah, Labyrinth was actually a blind spot for me. I didn't actually like really see it in its entirety. Like I was aware of it and had seen clips from it, obviously the songs. But
it was one of those movies where I didn't know what it was called, and for years I would remember it, and then finally when I was 17, I was able to like get on the internet and like search like what is this movie, and then it was like this whole like renaissance for me of rediscovering it, and
it's worth it. Yeah, that was a huge one when I was a kid. Also, Short Circuit. Sorry to just keep like hijacking.
I love Short Circuit. These are all ones I wanted to mention too. I love Short Circuit, and I'm a sucker for like person in a robot movies, and that's like the proverbial, dude with a robot movie. And Johnny Five is adorable, and yeah.
Also got the David Cronenberg remake of The Fly. If we want to go
Yeah.
back to just gross, upsetting movies.
I have that on Laserdisc somewhere.
Wow, we are having a lot of crossovers, huh?
Yeah.
Cronenberg's the man, and
He
Jeff
is.
Goldblum is also the man, and Gina Davis.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
That's a trio for success, if you ask me. There's also one of my personal favorite movies, Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
Netflix.
Yep.
A lot of fun. And then one I watched a lot as a kid is Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Nice.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Do,
Strong
do you
years.
guys know Ruthless People?
No, what is that?
Oh, I've heard of that.
It is one of the best comedies ever. So Disney created a whole new studio to make more adult movies. And this is like one of the first ones. And it's Danny DeVito and Bette Midler and Judge Ryan. How do you say his last name?
Reinhold, yeah.
Reinhold?
Yeah, they're in this. And it is a really, really like raunchy comedy that I grew up watching as a kid. Like, I can't believe my parents let me watch that. But Danny DeVito is like a gold digger, marries Bette Midler. He hates her. He steals this guy's idea to become rich himself. And then he sets up this, basically he sets up so that his wife gets kidnapped and murdered, but she actually does get kidnapped. And it completely ruins his plans, and he has to keep like lying to like, he doesn't want her back. That's like the whole thing. They're like, you got to pay this money. He's like, okay, I don't want it. And it's so good. I highly recommend it to everybody.
Nice.
It's by the Zaz guys, which is interesting. I didn't really
Cool.
follow their career after the 80s, I guess. But I will say Top Secret is still amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I forgot all about Top Secret. I own it too.
That's John Landis, right?
Top Secret?
Yeah.
No, it's the Zaz guys. Zucker Abrams Zucker. They did Airplane and Naked Gun.
There, yeah,
Val
you're
Kilmer,
right.
What?
Is it Val Kilmer who's the
Yeah, Val Kilmer, and I think might even be his debut. He's fantastic in that movie.
yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah, that's one to recommend. Not in anybody's birth year here, of course, but check out Top Secret, everyone.
It's okay.
Everybody, shout out a movie from a year you were not born in to recommend. No, I'm kidding. We don't have to do that. Does anyone have any? But I'm curious. Does anyone have any TV shows from the year they were born that they?
Ooh, yeah.
like?
Let's check out this out.
I got a big one called Twin Peaks.
Oh, yeah. I heard of that.
I adore.
Of course.
Yeah. Although I didn't see it for the first time until 2012, I want to say. But just from that point on, I was hooked, and I was like following everything about The Return, and I consider it to be one of the greatest artistic achievements ever. So, yeah, way to go, Twin Peaks.
Definitely. And actually, no, this one almost made my list. It was Crime Story, another Michael Mann joint, but the debut episode was directed by Abel Ferreira. And it was so good, the theatrical length version of it got theatrical screenings like speckled around the country. It's got David Caruso, Dennis Farina. It's a terrific cast. And the shopping mall finale is like just a complete knockout. It's one of Ferreira's like most, well, he's got a lot of great solid movies, but it's another terrific Ferreira flick. So, and show. So Crime Story.
I have a copy of that. I need to watch it.
It's great. Yeah.
It's on my endless list of things to see.
Right.
An 87 DuckTales arrived. So.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
91 was Darkwing Duck.
Ooh, I remember that.
Yeah. There's the only ones I'm seeing, because I didn't really, I don't really remember TV much from that age. But yeah, Aeon Flux, and then Dinosaurs. I remember definitely watching those when I was younger.
Dinosaurs, I remember that.
I feel like no one ever remembers that show. That's the I'm the baby, gotta love you, right?
I remember more from the Simpsons referencing it, actually.
Yeah.
I definitely like remember sitting down and watching that with but I had a lot of older siblings. Like my siblings are like 10 years older than me, so I watched a lot of what they watched.
Right.
Yeah, and then Aeon Flux I didn't watch till I was a lot older, but still.
Yeah. It's funny because dinosaurs kind of freak me out because of the costumes and everything. But then again, I was watching like, Silence of the Lambs and stuff. So like, what the hell?
Everyone has their own thing, man. Like,
Yeah.
Not true.
yeah.
Well, I just looked at the TV shows of 1994, and not really sure if anyone's seen either of these two, but I don't know, some show called Friends, and then like another one that I think is called ER. So I don't know.
My so-called life.
Check those out, I guess.
Ernie Robinson, that's what that stands for, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Friends was like my mom and my grandpa's show, and we would have dinner every week at my grandpa's when it would premiere so they could watch it all. Like, TV, it brings us all together.
Yeah,
I remember
ER was a big show in my family because there's a lot of like medical people who work in and around hospitals in my family. So like I remember like not seeing a lot of episodes as a kid, but like when I was in like middle school or high school or whenever like the series finale was, and that was like this like big huge moment we had to like make an evening out of at my house because just like my family was such big ER fans. So
was it fun watching them like kind of point out like what wouldn't actually happen? Because my aunt was a nurse, and whenever they watched ER, they'd be like, okay, like they haven't done that in 20 years. That machine doesn't exist. That should be full of air. He would be dead.
It would usually just be my mom, who is a nurse, just like sitting there, be like, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I love that stuff. Yeah,
That's the drama.
Yeah.
Nurses. Oh, wow.
Never saw ER.
I don't know why I stopped, but I'm gonna say no more on that subject for a bit.
Oh, Kristy, there was a Harry and the Hendersons TV show that debuted in '91.
no way.
Nice.
Why do I not know about this?
I mean, '91 was kind of a nothing year. So.
Aw,
Nonsense.
every year is a good year.
Yeah.
3 seasons.
Ellen
Holy
debuted in '91.
baloney.
Home Improvement was 91.
Oh.
I loved Home Improvement.
Yeah, no, we love Home Improvement. Yeah.
That's good.
Um,
I think of his neighbor's name.
Wilson.
Wilson, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
You guys recording a round table over here?
I remember like secretly hating Jonathan Taylor Thomas because he was like the heartthrob of like all the girls in my school. So I was like, I don't like that kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
when at that age, I only knew him in Home Improvement and then Tom and Huck, the Mark Twain Disney movie. But he wasn't the cute one in that. So the other guy who played Huck was cute. So
Brad Renfro.
yeah. Oh man, take me back.
Yeah.
Oh, Magic School Bus debuted in '94.
Ooh, I think they're making a movie about that. I think they're doing a Magic School Bus movie.
Oh yeah, and they're not having Lily Tomlin play Miss Frizzle, which seems crazy.
Which is gonzo to me. I mean, that's your part she was born to play. It's like when Shelley Duvall played Olive Oil. Like,
I mean, she is really.
Yeah.
Rugrats was 91. Sorry, but that's also worth noting. Rugrats, did anyone else?
Oh yeah.
Rugrats.
Yeah.
oh
I
yeah,
didn't
they're yeah.
Rugrats.
Hey, did we have any animated movies from any of us?
The Gremlins are really animated in the new batch.
Yeah, there's some animation there.
A ton of my picks were animation because
Oh yeah.
that's all I knew from then. Yeah,
Oh,
probably
yeah.
my favorite was Rockadoodle. Rockadoodle was huge for me
Nice.
in '90.
Crazy.
I mean, there's a pretty big animated movie in '94, but I figured it was a little too on the nose to mention the Lion King. Has anyone seen
Oh.
that?
Oh yeah.
I thought
that
you were
movie.
gonna say Tom Poco.
Wow.
Never heard of it.
I have the Rescuers Down Under from 1990. Yeah.
Nice.
I have this great planner that is Disney, It's
Nice.
Japanese, and every day is a different character.
Mhm.
And just got through Rescuers. Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
very nice.
I was also glad that you brought up Five Goes West, because any sequel that's a Western is awesome, in my opinion, which is a reference to Back to the Future 3.
hmm
Westerns are the best.
I agree.
After Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I only knew, I didn't see the original one until I was probably like in high school. I grew up only watching the second one. That was the only
Nice.
tape we had. And then it had the preview for the third one at the end. And I was like, when are we going to watch this?
We had the first one taped off HBO, and it was the same tape that Spaceballs, Excalibur, and that and Back to the Future on it. That was a solid tape right there.
I distinctly remember renting the second one on VHS when I was a kid, and then it gets to the end, and that like to be continued comes up, and me just sort of like panicking and like whipping my head around, and my parents be like, we gotta go back, we gotta get the other one. It's not over.
It's not over.
Nice.
So that was
That's it. Like,
movies. We really hit quite a few there.
Yeah.
We had a vein of wonders.
and it's nice because it's like each of our own like personal connections to these movies, and that's very nice, I think.
It is.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, shall we have at it?
Trivia time.
Is it that time?
The moment everybody's waiting for. All right. I'm kind of shocked. More than any other episode before this one, we've mentioned a lot of potential answers in our discussions.
I knew that was going to happen. I don't know why. I just did. I was hoping you were maybe trying to tie into the years, and I don't know.
I may have done some sleuthing based on what I knew about the people here. But anyways, trivia. Here we go. I will ask 10. Everybody's familiar, but just in case, I will ask 10 film and TV related questions to the group. The first person to say the correct answer out loud will earn a point. The player with the most points at the end wins. In the event there's a tie, a tiebreaker will become available. Are there any questions? Can everybody hear me okay? I don't normally have my mic. I don't have my mic.
Oh, you sound great.
So.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. All right. Question number 1. How many James Bond films did Timothy Dalton do?
2.
2.
I think Alexander by a hair over Jesse and Kristy. It's so close.
I'm sorry. It was your film, but I just.
I know. I know. All right. Question number 2. In the TV series 24, what is the first thing we ever see Jack Bauer doing?
Vomit?
No.
Torture somebody?
Waterboard.
I don't know, I've never seen it.
Wake up.
I haven't either. Yeah.
No, he does not. He's already awake. Okay, I guess nobody got that one. It's okay. He's playing chess with his daughter, Kim.
Oh, that's sweet.
The first, yeah. And then he goes and...
Then he goes and waterboards.
She gets kidnapped an hour later, and then he goes and kills everyone responsible. So, all right. Question number 3. How many people are killed in the first Scream movie?
7.
Correct.
Oh.
Boom!
Can you name them all?
Name them. Ooh. I don't remember their names. Drew Barrymore, and then Drew Barrymore, Henry Winkler gets killed.
Fonzie.
The guy who is Shaggy, he gets killed.
Matthew Lillard.
I can't remember. Sorry.
Isn't Drew Barrymore's boyfriend named like Billy or something? I feel like
Oh.
I distinctly remember her just screaming Billy over.
Steve, he
Yeah.
plays football. And he can
player.
kick Ghostface's ass. Yeah.
Rose McGowan.
Back, Sydney.
Rose McGowan. Yeah.
I grew up watching I saw Scary Movie way before I saw Scream,
Ah.
and so they kind of get muddied in my mind. So go, man. Sorry.
Yeah. If ever a film was to lessen another film's impact, it would be Scary Movie to Scream.
I disagree. I think they made me love them more. I was very like, I don't want to watch the Scream movies.
There you
And I
go.
watched all 4 of them last year, and I was like, these are amazing.
They are the best. Yeah.
All right. Question number 4. What high school do the kids in Saved by the Bell go to?
I got nothing.
Beverly Hills High.
No?
I didn't watch
I
that show.
feel like I know this, and it's really bothering me that I don't know.
Yeah, I never watched it.
It's a very simple name, too.
Is it something like East Coast High or something like that?
It's in that ballpark. It's just very generic location descriptor.
West Hills or something.
No?
I'm just gonna put geographical
High?
thing.
Maybe we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, by all means, keep going.
Throwing out.
North Mountain.
North.
East High?
North.
Eastern Gulch.
Think
East
body of.
Glen?
Think, I'm gonna give a hint.
East Lake.
Think body of water.
Pacific High?
Chris,
Southwest Tributary.
No.
Blue Lagoon High School.
Pacific. I bet Pacific's in there though.
That was the high school that
West,
I
East
forgot
River.
the joke. Not East River, not.
Canal Face.
All right. No, I'm sorry, guys. Time's up. The answer is Bayside High.
Oh.
A-side.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna be.
Bay Area. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Makes sense.
All right. Question number 5. What were the 3 breeds of animals in Homeward Bound?
Dog, cat, and dog. Oh, like what?
What kind?
American
Oh,
Fox,
like
American Bulldog, Golden
Golden
Retriever,
Retriever,
and
and
a
a Siamese.
Siamese Himalayan cat.
I think yes. Yeah, we got it with the Himalayan cat.
Nice.
Good
like
job.
a dog, cat. That would have been too easy.
It's a Siamese but fluffy.
Dog, cat,
Himalayan.
dog. Ding. All right. Good job, baby. Go. Question number 6.
When did that movie come out? That is one we should have talked about.
I want to say like 93.
93 sounds. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
There's a sequel too, wasn't there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Paper. Yeah.
I have that on VHS. I inherited like all those movies from my grandma, and
Nice.
it's good.
Right on. All right. Question number 6. What was the second television series that Joss Whedon produced?
Firefly.
Was that the second or was
Buffy?
it Buffy?
Oh wait. Dollhouse.
Angel?
Correct. Jesse got it.
Wow.
It is Angel.
I know that.
All right. Question number 7. What is the directorial debut of James Cameron?
Piranha 2, The Deadly Spawn.
Oh, jeez.
I think Jesse got it. It's Piranha 2, The Spawning. That's right.
Spawning, that's right.
Yeah.
I said Deadly Spawn, yeah.
Right. All right.
Here we are.
Jesse and Bailey tie it up 2-2. All right. This is exciting. All right. Question number 8. And I swear this was written down before we started talking. How many seasons of ER were there?
10?
20?
No.
11, I don't know.
15?
I'll
I'm going to go with 15.
15. Jesse got it.
Wow.
For a bonus point, can you name the actor who played Dr. Doug Ross?
I'm just gonna say George Clooney because he's the only person I know that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Clooney. Yeah. Correct.
I was gonna say Clooney too.
Kristy, I'm going to award you a point for that one. Just because. All right. Question number 9. Which 90s film features the Looney Tunes on its soundtrack?
Space Jam.
Correct.
Oh,
Wow. Bailey ties it up 3-3 with Jesse. Kristy has 1. Alexander has 1. This is an exciting game.
Yeah.
All right.
High stakes.
Question number 10. Which TV series features the first interracial kiss on American network television?
Is it Twin Peaks?
Star Trek Next Generation. No, Star Trek. The
Correct.
original.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah. Uhura and Kirk, yeah.
Yeah. Bailey Joe wins.
Woo!
You guys, congratulations. You
Yay.
promised you'd come back from last week and you dominated. That's awesome.
Okay.
Got it.
No.
Have-
No alcohol this time. Sorry.
Yeah, Kristy's got $1 the championship belt now. But do you guys want to hear the tiebreaker?
Of course.
I know you do. Okay, here we go. All right, so the tiebreaker would have been, who can name the most films directed by Tim Burton that were remakes of previous films?
Frankenweenie.
Is that a
Well,
remake of a film?
Dark Shadows.
And
Planet of the Apes.
Do we count Alice in Wonderland as a remake?
We
Alice
need
in Wonderland?
Todd.
And
How
Charlie
about
Protector.
Alice.
chocolate? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big one. You guys
Dumbo?
are Dumbo. Yep,
Oh.
that was it.
I forgot that.
And
We
I
were
guess
all
you
trying to forget
could
Dumbo.
argue, yeah. I guess you could argue Batman. Not really a
Yeah,
it's based
yeah.
off the yeah. All right, but no, congratulations, Bailey Joe. You were the victor. Good job, everybody. It's a rousing game.
Arigato
And,
gozaimashita.
Arigato.
You are the victor.
Very welcome.
It won't stay. Yeah, y'all are really good. I was like shamed last time.
Oh, you came back. See, we only remember the good times. This is a good time. All right, excellent.
The bad times, we forget Dumbo. All
Yes,
that.
exactly.
That's right.
I
Just
think it's okay to forget Dumbo.
stomp that elephant.
That came out very recently, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
feel like it,
March
but
of last year?
probably yes.
They say an elephant never forgets, but we do.
Since I moved to Japan, I haven't been able to like really see a lot of movies. So I'm very like disconnected from a lot of the discourse. Especially like where I live, I can't really go to a theater. So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, good news is nothing's coming out right now, so
Exactly.
Yeah,
You're all like me.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was great. Congrats, Billy Joe. That was a lot of fun, as always.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jake, for the trivia. And we talked about a lot of awesome movies, so that was super fun. So thank you again for joining me. And anyone who watches, thank you for watching. And feel free to also always leave comments on the YouTube page and say your own, if you want to, movie that you're from when you were born. And that wraps number 8. I almost forgot again. Number 8 Roundtable. I wonder how many we will do until we can get in person and do one. But
Million.
Just like put a 9 up here next time. Like for you to look at.
I'm going to be obnoxious and I'm going to do that, actually. Thank you for that suggestion. But yeah, thanks again, and everyone has a terrific evening.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you.
everyone.
Take care.
Thank you. Y'all are great.
Oh, well.